What are the future industries? I mean, what do you see coming down? What are some exciting industries? What's the future look like?
I am struggling so hard with that. I have a good friend you should actually put on your podcast. He grew up in Toronto as well, ex-South African, went to Caltech,
Yeah.
got one of the highest PhD marks ever in 5G. He probably has more patents than anybody else, but he's a really great guy. And he says, Mike, I'm telling my boys, and his boys are very smart as well. He says, plumbers, electricians, welders, forklift drivers. He said, because everybody's become so focused on technology and emerging technologies, but you still need those trades. And I've seen it in Israel. They went away from trade schools and they put their money towards IT schools. They're now importing people from around the world to drive forklifts, welding. And these people are earning 70, 80 bucks an hour. So the question is when you say, what is the future? Is to somehow say, okay, clearly those are emerging industries. But in order for those emerging industries to be successful, what are the old industries that are going to survive? And start buying up those companies and start getting jobs in those companies and trying to accumulate equity, because those companies are still going to have to be there. And everybody's neglected them. The valuations are neglected. The bankers don't lend to them. So I think, and maybe it's boring to say that, but I think there's some boring industries that are generating some serious cash flow that everybody's ignoring. And I think maybe those professions are, instead of trying to compete with the herd running in that direction, maybe look at the old industries.
Right. Things that require people, good old pair of hands.
Yeah, and a machine.
And a machine, yeah. Someone has to operate the machine.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what I would do. I know, listen, Mark Cuban spoke about AI and integration of AI and algorithms and all that. Mm-hmm. And of course, we all know about that. Mm-hmm. Visual learning. But I think the old industries, less competition, easier to succeed.
So hopefully for the audience, as they're listening, they're making some notes, which is, getting some great investment advice and strategy from the one and only Mike Aron. Well, Mike, I mean, any parting words, anything that you want to leave the audience with, words of wisdoms or final thoughts?
Yeah, well, I want to thank you, Greg, because I think what you're doing is taking people that are just a normal person on the street type person and giving them a spotlight to talk about their value system. I think that's wonderful, because most people are interviewing the bright light names. And I think some of their messages are misguiding some of the younger generations.
Right.
I appreciate what you're doing. And I think your library of wisdom that you're communicating to people is enduring wisdom that's going to lead to a world that's a better place for your young kids and my grandkids. So I thank you for what you're doing. I think it's wonderful, and I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you, my man. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Awesome. Where can we find you? If someone wants to get in touch with you, obviously we'll post all your contact that you at least allow us to do so, maybe like public channels. But I mean, any websites that you want people to check out, or, Instagram profiles?
So I'm a pretty low profile guy. I don't even have any of those things. But IGAN Partners is our Canadian venture capital fund, IGANpartners.com. That's always a good way to find me. Otherwise, my email, mike@michaelaron.com. And I'm a pretty responsive guy. I don't have like profiles and personal websites. Yeah. Not for any particular reason. It's just not something that I do. But love to be of help to anybody. Love to talk to anybody and share whatever I have that they might find of value. My pleasure.
Amazing. Well, we'll get that also listed there. Mike Aron, thank you so much for being on the show. We got a ton from you. Again, to your point, this is what it's about. We want to talk to people that are in it, successful CEOs and business leaders and community contributors, and get advice, because back to your point, sometimes these big wigs, it's all canned stuff, right? So our brand stands for making humans better humans. And to your point, it's not just for us to do it, but it's for this everlasting thing called kids. How do we leave these kids much better in the world, where they're able to think, communicate, and contribute and make great decisions and just be effective human beings? So awesome. You represent all of this. It's been an absolute honor. We'll probably have to get you back for part 2 as well. And thank you very much. All right. If you like today's episode, don't forget to click that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to comment. And we will see you next time. Hey, I'm Greg Witz. Thanks so much for coming and checking out the video. If you like that video, you're going to love the next one. So I'd highly suggest that you click this video over here. And don't forget to subscribe and share.